Most small business owners don't fail because of a lack of passion. They fail because they're running blind. I'm Mark Andersen, and I help small business owners make data driven decisions using the information from their accounting records. My mission is simple. I want to make a dent in the small business failure rate by teaching you how to use your finances to make better decisions. Welcome to Business on the Run. Hey everybody, Mark Andersen here. We are doing another episode of Business on the Run with Mark Andersen, and today I am here with Jason Johnson from On the Go Chiropractic. So Jason, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And super excited to have you here. And why don't we just start off by, here's what I'd love to know about you. Give us like the abbreviated version of Jason Johnson from, I don't know, being a kid to where you are today, and the same thing about how you got to where you are with your business like today. Because I know you just started your business here very recently.
This business, yes, about year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Kind of unofficially about 10 years ago, but never really kicked off until about a couple of years ago. Going back to how this business started, basically it started out as sitting out on a back patio on a Friday night, one night with my neighbors. We used to hang out with them. Kids would all hang out, just kind of unwind from the week. And one weekend, neighbor calls me. It was a Saturday or Sunday. He's like, "Man, I can't move. My back, I can't move. I can't do anything. I don't know if I need to go to a hospital or what. Can you help me?" "Sure." And he said, "Well, it might take me about an hour to get to your house, but I'm going to start walking your way." I was like, "No, just you stay right there. I'll bring my table to your house." And so, long story short, got him all fixed up, got him to where he could function, walk, get through the next week. So fast forward to the next Friday, we're all hanging out. And when I say we all, there's probably 4 or 5 houses that we would all get together, all the kids, all the adults, just hang out, end of the week. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, Jason, I can't believe you were a miracle worker. You got my back fixed. You got to where I was walking again." And, everybody else was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, he did something to his back." And I just took my table over to the house and fixed him up. And somebody mentioned something. "Well, that's pretty cool about, you just went to his house." And I said, "Well, I have a table. We'll go just about anywhere." And that kind of sparked a little conversation amongst us. And somebody said, "Is that even a thing? Like chiropractors that go to people's houses?" I don't know. So moving into the next week, I get online and I start looking around, get the Google searches, and find at that time, this was probably 10 years ago at that time, didn't really find anybody in the Houston area that did any kind of mobile chiropractic. I came across one guy out of California. Came across his website. He was Chiro on the Go. And so I emailed him and just asked him some general questions about what he does, how he does it, how it works, this kind of thing. And he responded, gave me a lot of information and, things that he does. He actually had an office and he did mobile stuff along with it. And so fast forward to the next Friday, we're all hanging out. And I said, "Yeah, I've been emailing this guy out of California." And then he goes by Chiro on the Go. And he's telling me all these cool things that he does and, to help people. And they really appreciate the convenience of him going to their house and them not having to get out in traffic or bad weather or anything like that. And, we're talking, and one of my friends, she goes, "You should be on the Go Chiro." I was like, "That's it. We are now on the Go Chiropractic." And so that's kind of how this came about several years ago. I just never really did anything with it. It was just more of a family friend referral type thing. And then circumstances had it a couple years ago. I got laid off from a position that I had at a clinic, not around here, but in another town. And I told my wife at that time, I was like, "Let's just go with it, see what happens."
Sure.
Middle of 24, that's when we started this. And we're just slowly getting it going. We've had some roadblocks because I'm sure you've known, talking to my wife, that I had to have both of my hips replaced in the last year. And so that was a bit of a roadblock trying to get the business going because I couldn't hardly walk.
Right.
So couldn't really go promote a business being as handicapped as I look. But now that I got both hips fixed, everything is great. Now we're starting to push forward and move forward with trying to get this business up and going.
Awesome. Is chiropractic the only thing that you offer, or do you do other?
I offer
other things?
various different modalities, therapeutic type stuff, muscle work. Just kind of all depends on what the person needs
Yeah.
and whether or not I can help them with that. And I'm also the type of person that if I can't help them, I'm going to find them somebody that can work with them. But just kind of figure out what the person needs. Is it just chiropractic? Is it chiropractic plus muscle work? Is it exercises? Just it all depends on individual needs.
Okay.
It's not one set thing that everybody gets the same thing. It's all based on individual needs.
And I'm similar, right? I mean, in the accounting and finance world, I'll oftentimes have clients come, or even others that will just ask, "Hey, I need a loan. Do you know a good banker?" Or I'm about to set up an LLC. Do you know someone that can help me with that and doing, hey, yeah, I'm sure I've got a corporate attorney, making referrals like that. So you make a lot of those exchanges, I guess.
I do.
What are some of the things that you're doing to generate leads? Advertising, marketing? Is it all word of mouth?
Right now, for the most part, it's been word of mouth.
Yeah.
Again, going back to where I just couldn't really get out to promote myself. But now, starting this year, now that everything is good to go, I'm going to try to get out more, be out in different events around the public. Just to get out, put a face to the name, kind of thing. And, the online stuff, I'm not very tech savvy. So I kind of bounced that off my wife on, trying to put some
she's
stuff
pretty
out
active on the social media.
Yes, she is. Very much more
than
than
your social media manager.
She is my social media manager. So I bounced those ideas off of her on what to do or what to post, because I really don't know. I'm more of a person to person type. I love to talk. I love talking with people. I love talking with groups of people. So that's just my personality. She's more of the get all fancy with graphics and things like that. So
cool.
I put that in her position.
Good. So do you have a Facebook page?
I do. It is, okay. I believe it's on the Go Chiropractic.
I was just curious, like what other platforms are you on, and how?
Myself, I'm just on Facebook, but like I said, my wife, she does the Instagram and the Snapchat, and pretty sure she's not on TikTok, but I may be wrong. Yeah. But I just do.
No
personally,
advertising.
No advertising really.
And how long did you go to school to become a chiropractor? I mean, tell me a little. Give me your resume.
Background. If you will. We'll go background on how I became a chiropractor. Sure. Going back to my youth, big into sports, love playing sports. Pretty much played all sports growing up. My 7th grade year playing football. That school, the big thing was the week before your first football game, it was the big 7th grade versus 8th grade scrimmage.
Okay.
So I was the 7th grade quarterback. My brother was the 8th grade defensive end. And we call a play on offense, just a straight option play. So I take the snap, I go down, and he catches me. My brother. He catches me before I could pitch the ball. And he wraps me up. And I remember to this day looking in his eyes, and it's like his eyes were rolled to the back of his head. Like he was just so into that moment. And I pitched the ball, and he just very nonchalantly pushes me.
Yeah.
And instead of just falling backwards, I tried to catch myself with my leg, and I hyperextended my knee, and I didn't tear my ACL. I tore the ligament from the bone.
Okay.
So had to have surgery. They had to go in, screw the bone down. So I was out for about a year. And after the surgery, you got to go through all the rehab and, going through physical therapy. I thought, this is some cool stuff. Back then it's the early 90s. Like, these gadgets and machines and stuff. This is some cool stuff. And then, fast forward to baseball the next season, Little League. I'm playing in a baseball game. I hit a ball, easy double, but I stretch it into a triple. Wrong move. So I slide into third base. My cleat catches the base. And from my knee up, my body comes up, but my leg stays on the ground. So completely destroyed my knee, same knee again. And so that put me out of sports for another year. And So again, going through physical therapy, things like that, like I really enjoyed that kind of stuff. I thought it was really cool. And so that got me into the kind of that helping with sports type sports injuries and things like that. That's what really where my focus was. And get through high school, go into college. My career path was physical therapy. On the path for that. And one day, let's just say I was happily intoxicated. College, come home. We were at Renaissance Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And I jumped on my couch like that. And I came down on my head on the arm of the couch and thought I broke my neck. And so that introduced me to chiropractic, which was my first chiropractor was the brother of a high school classmate of mine. That got me into the chiropractic, and he did wonders. Luckily didn't break my neck, but he got me up and rolling. Took several months, but he got me up and going. And during that time spent with him, asking him questions about what he does, and because he was a chiropractor at a hospital in a little small town, but he was also in charge of all the rehab for the hospital. And so getting to talk to him, that started getting the wheels turning in my head. And like, you know what? I kind of like that a little bit better. And so that put me on the path towards chiropractic. And so finished college, got accepted into chiropractic school. Chiropractic school at that time was 3 years long. I think now it's between 3.5 and 4. Very intense. Like we were taking minimum 25 hours a semester.
Oh, wow.
Very intense, 25 to 30 hours a semester. Lots of anatomy, it just broke down the body like you wouldn't believe. Learned a lot of stuff that I didn't know about chiropractic. And even over my career, I'm just over 19 years into this, still learning stuff.
Sure.
There's still so much that is out there that the human body can do that it's amazing at what it can do and what it can do by itself as far as healing and just, getting over certain ailments and things like that. That got me on the path to, there's alternatives to not to bash the medical world, but there's alternatives to just taking pills or popping a pain medication or muscle relaxer. There's a reason why certain things are going on in the body, and our job is to listen to our bodies. What is it saying? Because it will tell you what's wrong with it. And if you listen to it, relay that to, the chiropractor or whatever naturopath, we can help them find a natural way to allow their body to heal properly, whether it's a muscle problem, a back problem, neck problem, or an internal organ problem, intestinal problem or heart, like high blood pressure, things like that. There's so much that can be done. Chiropractic is not just adjusting the spine and getting rid of neck pain or back pain. There's so much more involved with it. When you break down the nervous system and how the nervous system, basically the nervous system's in charge of the whole body. The brain and spinal cord control the whole body. And so if something is wrong with one of those pathways, whatever that pathway controls, then that's not going to be working right or working properly. So as the chiropractor, we find those disruptions of the pathways, restore the pathway, and then restore the function, the normal function back to the body and allow the body to heal itself, essentially.
Yeah. So how much of this do you feel like is nutritional?
A very big part of it.
Yeah.
A very, very big part of it.
And do you guide your clients and what's your week look like nutritionally? What kind of foods are you eating?
What are you eating? Why do you keep having the same problem over and over again? What it breaks down to we're Americans. We have the most horrible diet in the whole world.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of it boils down to their diet. They're putting garbage into their system. Well, the body is taking those toxic toxins and trying to figure out, that's attacking the points of weakness in the body. And so a lot of people, it's, big one is sugar. Get rid of sugar. You can change a lot of things that happen in the body.
It's big inflammatory, isn't it?
Oh, extremely huge. Just simple things, just simple changes in diet. And when you say the word diet, people freak out. It's like, oh my gosh, diet is just changing certain things to, eliminating something that's bad and replacing it with something that's good.
Sure.
Get rid of the sugars and maybe eat Something,
Diet
something raw and natural.
diet is kind of a terrible word, right?
It is.
But yeah, it should be framed a little bit differently. It should be a lifestyle change.
It is.
Right.
Diet is a
Instead of
lifestyle.
I'm always looking at, what's in the food that we're eating, right? I mean, it's, as you know, I'm a big runner.
Right.
Your wife is a big runner, and so that's something we have in common. What are some of the most inflammatory foods that you tell your clients to get away from, aside from the sugar?
Anything refined.
Yeah.
Anything that's
Processed foods.
anything
Yeah.
processed, which I'm guilty.
Sure.
I'm a human being. I like sweets. Yesterday was Easter. I like sweets. I baked cupcakes yesterday. I bake them, I eat them.
Yeah.
But then, I
Don't make it a habit.
I don't make that a habit. My kids own it. That's something different. But I don't make it a habit. And I try to eat as raw as I can, as natural as I can. A lot of grain, salads, just fish and, different kinds of things. The best thing when it comes to nutrition is stay out of the inner part of the grocery store. Only stay around the perimeter.
Oh,
that's where
okay.
all your better foods, that's where your produce, your meats and things like that. But once you get into the inner part of the grocery store, that's where your boxed foods and
stuff
canned foods and, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know my brother would, one of the comments that he would make about diet, because he's a pretty fit guy too. And he would say that if it's in a box or some sort of a wrapper, it's probably not something that you want to eat. Now, that's not always the case, right? I mean, you can't get a box of blueberry or, you can't get blueberries without the box, right?
Exactly.
And as a general rule, it does kind of work. Tell me a little bit about, what is the 5 to 10 year goal for your business?
5 to 10 year goal is just try to grow it as much as I can.
And what does it look like, though? I mean, are you talking about, adding additional chiropractors to your business?
That would be ideal, because being a mobile business, I'm limited by how many people I can go to at a time. I have no problem going, seeing one person here, one person there, one person there. But ideally, I would like to find, places where I can get 5 people here, 5 people there, where you maximize your each visit.
Sure.
Or each stop, you maximize your clients.
Sure.
Just the other day, there was a guy that he was having a crawfish boil. And he said, hey, I've got these people over. I've mentioned your name to them and told them about you. And if you're open, they want you to come set up your table here at the crawfish boil.
Oh, okay.
I said, sure, why not? And so I went out there, spent a couple hours out there, adjusting people, meeting people, talking to people. It was a great day.
So how do you manage that? Because that is kind of an interesting thing, right? How do you currently manage your schedule on a day-to-day basis? What is your, your geographic reach, right? Where do you kind of draw the line in terms of, I'm not going to go past this point because it's no longer cost effective?
So how I manage my day-to-day, I'm very old school, pencil and piece of paper.
Okay.
My areas of service is right now, obviously, the Pearland area, Pearland, Alvin. I'll go as far as I go as far as Angleton, Danbury, south of the county. I always get the question, do you go to insert city here? And I said, the easiest answer is, if it's worth my time, I'll go just about anywhere. For me to drive an hour to adjust one person, drive an hour back, it's not really very time or cost effective.
Gotcha.
But I try to stay within this, from the South Houston to Angleton area in that circle. You hit your League City, Webster, better Seabrook, LaPorte.
Okay.
I got a broad area right now.
Is it just you right now?
Just me.
So you're solopreneur right now.
Right.
Do you know what your first hire is going to be, or how far down the line it is?
I would like it to be sooner rather than later. But like I said, going back to now that I'm fully capable of really getting out to push the business, now that I'm over, the surgeries and the rehab and the healing, now I can really start pushing forward to try to get this business up and going as quickly as possible.
I guess the reason I'm asking that question is because most of the time what people are, especially the solopreneur, so that they can spend more time helping clients, they move towards some sort of administrative help first. I know Julie has definitely got you covered on the social media front, trying to help with that. But at some point I would get, I'm just kind of making an assumption here based on personal experience and other folks that I've talked to, getting somebody to do your scheduling for you is probably going to be that next big move. No,
either that, or like what you were talking just earlier about having like an online scheduling service, to where people can go and see what appointments are available, and they can click, and then it messages me to that somebody has scheduled an appointment.
There's some great scheduling stuff out there that you can get. And
but I also have to think of the schedules, how to maximize my time, right? Because I don't want to, like, in one day, like, get up and I have to go into Houston to adjust a couple people. Then I'm down in Angleton to adjust a couple people. Now I'm back in Pearland. A lot of back and forth, to where it's like, okay, one day this is my area. The next day this is my area. The next day, to where I'm not doing a lot of back and forth if I don't have to.
Yeah, that's probably a good way of doing it. But it also means that in many situations you could be losing out on opportunities too, right? Because there could be a situation where, like, well, you're going to be in Angleton, I'm in Angleton, but I'm not available the day you're coming. Can't you do it tomorrow? And you're going to be like, nope, I'm in Galveston or something like that, right? So there's always going to be something, but you still have to think more about maximizing your time, as well as maximizing the service that you're able to give out to everybody else. That's cool. Tell us about your family.
Family. So, as we mentioned, my wife, Julie, and then we have 3 boys, William, Jacob, and Nathan. They range from 22, 17, and 15.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you had a 22-year-old. Wow.
3 boys.
Yeah.
A house full of redheads. I'll just leave it at that. And I am not redheaded, so they get it all from their mother.
Are they runners like your mom?
The youngest is. The youngest is more of a runner. Middle one, Jacob, he does get out and run, but not. These little 5K fun runs around town. He'll go do those if he remembers.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife, she'll tell him, like, hey, such and such run's coming up. Do you want to do it? Yeah or no? Or the day I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
But Nathan, the youngest, he's all into it. He's like me. He's all into the sports and everything. He's, gearing up. I think they start spring football here in the next week or two. So he's been working hard. He's quarterback like I was. So on him, I've been working with him on a wrist injury for the last couple of weeks. So I'm trying to get him practice ready.
Do you charge him?
I do. He costs him a lot of yard mowing.
He's got to take out the trash and exchange.
A lot of yard mowing. So with our games for Easter, we do these. My wife started these outdoor games about 5 years ago, and so we do them in the backyard, kind of like a yard pong game type thing, and then a couple other, like cornhole type stuff. And so his job was to get the playing field ready on Saturday before the rain came here. So he got out there, mowed the yard, got it all ready so we could play our games for Easter.
All right.
So that's his job, is get out, mow the grass. And
what do you feel like your biggest business challenge is right now?
The biggest challenge is building the business, new clients, new patients in, getting new clients, new patients onto, regular scheduled appointments and stuff like that. A good friend of mine had a very successful business in the oil field for many years, very successful. And he told me years ago, he goes, you live and die by new customers. He goes, I don't care what business you're in. You'll live and die by new customers.
I used to work with a guy, had a great saying. He says that everything starts with a sale.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so true. I mean, without sales, business doesn't exist.
Right.
From a capacity perspective, right? How full is your schedule?
In my opinion, it's very empty.
Okay.
I mean, it's steady. Weekly, it's steady.
Yeah.
But in my mind, it's very empty. There's a lot of room that needs to be filled.
And how are you going to fill it?
Yeah, I'm going to get out and walk the streets, hit the streets.
Are you a member of the Chamber of Commerce?
Not yet, but I need to get back into them.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say that's a great place to meet other business owners.
And they have their first Fridays coming up this week.
The beauty of your business, especially the fact that it's mobile, is you get out there and you meet some of these business owners. You could make an event of some sort at their locations, and not only would that be a great possibility, but also getting to know those owners. They may have their own chiropractic issues, so that could be a great avenue for you. Do you go to any farmers markets or anything like that? Have you done that before?
No, that's on my list to do. because, farmers market's just right there by our house.
Yeah,
So, I
yeah.
mean, I can walk to it. And,
I know.
even if it's just go hand out cards or,
Sure.
I tried to get into the Spring Fest this weekend
Okay.
over at Independence, but they were full on vendor booths.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I'll probably still go out there and hand out
Yeah,
cards.
100%.
Hand out cards and
Sure.
just walk around and meet people.
Yeah,
talk
absolutely.
to people.
Absolutely.
That's how I started my career. Was just that's the first clinic I worked in coming out of school. We were required to do 2 spinal screenings a month,
Okay.
and whether that's 10 people, 5 people, or these events where thousands of people are coming through there.
Yeah.
And so that's how I started, was just putting my face in front of theirs so they could see me, talk to me, get to know me, because as a doctor, they need a good rapport with the doctor. They just don't need something that they can read off a sheet of paper or off of a website, a bio or something. They need to talk to somebody that they could build that relationship with.
Right.
Because, with any doctor, you're talking about your personal self. And so that's very personal to people. And so they want to know, are you, me, the doctor, am I invested in them and their health and their life? And so that's why I prefer talking to people rather than putting an Instagram or Facebook post out, because when I talk to people face to face, then we establish a relationship.
Sure.
Right there.
Sure.
A one-on-one relationship that could build into a trust and a referral.
I would push back on that just a little bit in that, and I don't disagree with what you're saying at all, first of all. I think that social media can be a huge tool.
No, I do agree with you. That's not my thing.
I know.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's not mine either, but have you ever heard of Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yes.
If you read any of his books or if you follow any of his social media, I mean, what an interesting guy. He's probably, I'm not 100% sure, but I bet he's just a couple of years younger than we are. And to me, he's like the social media guru. I think that by being on social media frequently and working to build that rapport with people, you're able to build that rapport in many respects before you even meet them.
Right.
Right. And I think that's a huge, huge benefit to you, but also to your prospective clients. And I can't tell you how many times that I have brought on new clients and also just in casual conversation. And I'm, I'll be shooting a video and I'm like, man, nobody or, not paying any attention to any of the numbers. I'm like, man, am I just wasting my time here? But then I'll go to an in-person event somewhere and I'll get comments like, man, I love watching all your stuff. I think I really do finally want to do business with you at some point. So,
And I totally agree with that. And it's not that I don't agree with social media. I do 100%.
Yeah.
I do 100% because, me going out to physically talk to people, my limitation is how many people can I talk to at one event, with 10, 20, 30, however many, where you could put a post out on social media and that could reach tens of thousands of people. And it might not get tens of thousands responses, but that puts a name in front of tens of thousands of people's faces that they might remember that one day. And I've come across people, how did you hear about me? Well, I came across this Facebook post 5 years ago and I remember saving it. And then something happened and I was like, what was that guy's name? And I remember I saved that post. And so I called you. Okay. So it does work.
It does.
But yeah, in that sense, social media is great because again, you can reach so many more people than you can just one-on-one at one little sitting.
It's a one-to-many opportunity.
Right.
Yeah. Jason, tell me a little bit about how the audience is going to be able to reach out to you, learning more about everything from nutrition to getting their back straightened out.
The easiest way is find me on social media. You can go to my name, Jason Johnson, or the business page is On The Go Chiropractic on Facebook. Phone numbers 979-450-4199. Call or text. Typically a text is preferable because if I'm busy, I'll save the text I'll save the notification. A lot of times I'll forget about a voicemail. And so text messages work a little bit better, but call, leave a voicemail, shoot me a text. Email is JAJOHNDC, D as in dog, C as in cat, at yahoo.com. You can contact me in those ways and ask questions or schedule an appointment, and we can get you fixed up.
Jason, thanks so much for
Thank you.
coming on the show today. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun conversation, and I learned a lot about chiropractic and everything that your world is all about. I'm sure everybody else did too. Thanks a lot for listening. My name is Mark Andersen, and this is Business on the Run with Mark Andersen. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. We are on YouTube, Amazon, Apple, and Spotify. Thanks a lot for tuning in to Business on the Run, and we will talk to you next time.